To be or not to be, that is the question. Well, many of us probably recognize that as being a Shakespeare quote. In Kuna, some students are learning about all the famous playwright, and soon they'll be taking that knowledge and see it come to life with some help from some local Shakespeare experts. Our Shiro Matsuzawa introduces us to this week's Innovative Educator.
William Shakespeare once wrote, "All the world's a stage." And in Zizli Kiros' classroom, the students are the players.
My goal was just to get as much exposure in front of the kids as possible. And I mean, everybody's got to read a Shakespeare play in their lifetime.
Zizli is an English language arts teacher at Project Impact STEM Academy. It's a charter school in Kuna. Recently, she decided to introduce her 7th through 12th graders to Shakespeare.
And I got a ton of eye rolls. You know, teenagers are like, oh, Shakespeare, great. And so we were going to read a play, Romeo and Juliet, and we were going to do a scene analysis. So they took a scene from the play that they decided, and they just analyzed it.
And that analysis turned into appreciation.
They had a lot of fun with it. Toward the end, they kind of started getting into it. And then they started watching the play, and that's kind of where they really, really loved it. And so toward the end, they're like, okay, Miss Q, I guess Shakespeare isn't that bad.
Zizli wanted to take her students' exposure to Shakespeare one step further. So she reached out to the Idaho Shakespeare Festival. They set up a Zoom call with the kids and talked about what it's like to be an actor and how kids could get involved.
Through the Idaho Shakespeare Festival, Miss T, who is our paraprofessional in our classroom, said, hey, you know, I think they do this really cool thing called Shakespeareans, where the Idaho Shakespeare Festival comes to the school, they perform, and they do a workshop for students. So I was like, yes, we have to get them to do this, right?
So she started researching it. And when she realized they didn't have the funds for the Shakespeareans, she applied for a grant through the CapEd Foundation, which led to this check delivery.
Just to see my kids' face when I told them that we would be having this experience, just to see them light up meant the world. Really, really thankful for the CapEd Foundation.
Unfortunately, because of scheduling conflicts and a lack of space at the school, the charter school couldn't accommodate the Shakespeareans. But as they say in theater, the show must go on. And so, it will. Rather than the Shakespeare Festival coming to the students will soon get to go to the Shakespeare Festival in Boise and see the performance live at the outdoor amphitheater.
I think it's going to be just even better.
In the meantime, the students are also rehearsing their own Shakespeare play.
It was so amazing to see it as a teacher because I just kind of stepped back and kind of let them do their own thing. And they decided that they were going to do a totally different version of Romeo and Juliet, where it's set in a high school, and Romeo is the bad kid, but with a good heart, and Juliet was a new student. And so they just had this fantastic idea to perform for the rest of the school. And then it's just been really cool to see as a teacher how they've kind of opened up their hearts and their minds to a new experience.
Zizli Kiros, Innovative Educator.
And this is Zizli's 3rd year teaching. She previously spent 10 years working in the radio industry before making a career switch. And she says she's grateful to the community and her fellow teachers who helped her because she is constantly reaching out to learn more so that she can teach her kids. If you would like to nominate an innovative educator who's going above and beyond, send us an email at innovativeeducator@ktvb.com. And educators, for more information on submitting an application for a classroom grant through the Idaho CapEd Foundation, we have a link to this in our story at ktvb.com.